I actually like better. Now, I'm not saying I believe, but out of the arguments, see, the key arguments here is number one, Hadrian built a pagan temple. We know he hated Christians. Maybe he deliberately did that to defile. Number two, it's outside of the city walls. Number three, if you face this direction, we are directly in line with the Holy of Holies. They are, and of course, Helena, she believes she found all the road. They are the main arguments. You will hear the arguments at the Garden Tomb tomorrow. The place that I lean towards, possibly, I'm not saying probably, but I like the argument, is actually in this direction up on a hill. It's called the Mount of Olives. And the reason why I believe, why I like the argument, the three main arguments are, in the temple, which went along that way, every single altar, except for one, every single altar faced the Mount of Olives. The Mount of Olives is symbolic of judgment, because in the valley, it's a valley called the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which means God will judge. So all the altars face the Mount of Olives. Number two argument is, if you read Josephus, the Talmud, and the Mishnah, on the Day of Atonement, the most holiest day in the year, where the red heifer was sacrificed, where all the sins were atoned for, there was a bridge built from the Holy of Holies in the temple up to the top of the Mount of Olives. And they used to walk the red heifer up to the top of the Mount of Olives, slay it up on the Mount of Olives.
Well, that makes sense.
And the high priest would dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times towards this direction, which was the Holy of Holies.
That makes sense.
By the way, that was the same place on the Mount of Olives, which was a major route where once a year also, the Day of Atonement, the high priest who bore the 12 stones on his breastplate, bearing all the sins of the 12 tribes, he would lay his hands on a scapegoat, and from that very tip on the Mount of Olives, he would shoo the scapegoat into the desert. And by the way, according to the Talmud and the Mishnah, the year that Jesus was crucified is the only record in history of the scapegoat coming back.
Oh,
And that's not even the New Testament, that's the Talmud and the Mishnah.
yeah. Wow.
And then the last argument is a Roman argument. Romans would crucify you either where you were arrested or in a trade route or a major path nearby. Now, where was Jesus arrested? In the Garden of Gethsemane, which is at the bottom of the Mount of Olives.
It
So-
sounds like the most logical thing.
If he was crucified on a major trade route, there's a verse in the gospel that says, and all who passed by beheld him. And that could have the connotations of a major route where lots of people passing by. So I like those arguments, but I wouldn't go so far as to say I believe, but out of the 3 sites, I like it. Anyway, guys, it is
It's 3:30 almost.
3:30. So if we can take, I don't know,
palm tree.
15 minutes?
It's pretty crowded. Can you give us 20?
Yeah, 20. 20 minutes. We'll be back here in 20 minutes. Please don't be late.
This is what is this right here?
What is what?
It's all part of this
it's
church.
part of it.
It's a
That's
big
the
church.
Ethiopian section.
But you said that there was something we're on the backside of the temple of the Holy of Holies.
No, I'm
Holy
saying,
of Holies right here.
I'm saying one of the beliefs that this could be the actual place, Golgotha, Calvary, where Jesus was crucified,
Right.
is because if you go probably about 1,000 feet straight, maybe even longer, 2,000 feet, you will get to exactly directly the Holy of Holies.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, it adds to the argument for
yeah.
this place.
Yeah.
Oh, I ditched my scarf. I don't need it.
No, you don't.
אסף, שלום, מחסור יום. תשובה? Ядро Господне, но там будет много народу. Свечи будут здесь. Я буду.
Перевод череп. Похоже на череп. Полголи череп. Да. Вот просто отсюда, видите, вот заграждение, вот отсюда уже очередь берется. Для тех, кто...
Pretty crazy.
Crazy. I think it's oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
What did they think took place here? They said they could stay
It's a long time.
Look at the columns. There's another one over here. It's really hot.
After a year, when the plastic components, they make them both, they break them, put them in a stone box, and put it into the niche. When you put a person into the tomb, you have a big
Снимаем после 100.